Hi, Tymal, good to see you.
Hello.
How are you feeling then as you prepare to head out for the T20 World Cup? Can you allow yourself to get excited now?
Yeah, almost. Obviously, still a little bit of time left. We head out to Oman today, and then we've got to do a bit of quarantine, and still got to wait for the rest of the guys to finish the IPL and stuff. But I think once we get to the airport later and get together with a few of the guys, it will be it'll maybe hit home a little bit, and then once we're able to start training, I guess it'll all really become real.
Yeah, have you allowed yourself to just reflect on what an incredible achievement it is for you? I guess 12 months ago, you wouldn't even you'd have thought I was kidding if I told you this would happen, eh?
Yeah, I try not to get too wrapped up in it and get too emotional about it because it's where I want to be and it's what I want to be doing. As I said, I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to getting back in the squad and with everybody again and back in training and hopefully once the practice games start. But nothing's guaranteed from here. That's one thing I have learned is that you can't look too far ahead. So I'm just looking forward to jumping on the plane later and getting involved.
And can you give us an insight into how tough it was last summer when you had that stress fracture in your back, you rehabbed, just what you had to go through to get back from that?
Yeah, so obviously I had the stress fracture at the end of last summer, so playing for Sussex and managed to muddle through, but it was pretty sore at the end. And then most of the winter, unfortunately, spent in a back brace day and night, apart from when I was asleep or when I was in the shower. Those are the two times I could take the brace off. So for 3 months through December, January, February, I was in the brace, which was tough. Was just allowed to walk and cycle each day. It was tough mentally more than anything. Just obviously during lockdown, I wasn't doing anything socially either. So obviously the weather's pretty bleak, and then as you know, I'm used to spending winters away playing in the T20 league. So it was just more mentally tough. But I knew just had to get through it, and then I just had to ramp up the training come the spring, start off in the gym, and then get back running, and then get back bowling. And look, since then my back's been pretty good, touch wood, and fingers crossed that's behind me. And then I'm obviously really pleased with how the summer went from there.
Did you ever consider stacking it off, packing it in? Did you feel like, do you know what, I can't be bothered with all this now?
No, obviously you have days where you're more fed up than others, but as you say, the only two options are you either get on with it and do the rehab or you retire. And I'm only 29. I was 28 at the time. I was only I've just turned 29. So I still feel I've got a lot of good cricket left in me. I'm pretty good at keeping busy with other interests and things like that as well. So again, unfortunately, it's something that I've gotten used to in dealing with injuries and going through the rehab process. But hopefully, there'll be less of that in the future.
Did you think, though, your international career was done certainly at that point, but without having played international cricket for so long?
I kind of stopped thinking about it, to be honest. I just wanted I always believed that I was good enough to get back in the mix and play at that level. And as I've said in interviews many times, it's just been a case of being able to prove that I was fit enough to kind of be selectable. That's something that I haven't done up until this year. So for me, it was just a case of using the platform that the Blast and the 100 gave me this summer to hopefully prove that I can, back up performances, back up games, and then put in the performances when I can.
And now, do you feel you can force your way into Owen Morgan's strongest 11? Do you feel confident if you're throwing the ball on the biggest stage in the World Cup to bowl at the death? How do you think you'd adapt to that?
Yeah, look, I'll always back myself for right or for wrong. I'll always think I can do well. I'm obviously desperate to play, but I also understand that I'm an outsider coming into the team, and I haven't played for so long, and I've got to earn the right and the trust of Morgs and Spoons. So as I say, as soon as we get once training starts and once the practice games start, hopefully can bowl myself into the side. But I'm also completely understanding that might not happen, and I might run drinks. So I'm just happy to be there. And if Morgs chucks me the ball, I'm confident I can go out there and do well.
Finally, from me, I know you're obviously not going to be involved in the Ashes, but it's looking like the Ashes tour is very much in doubt. I just wonder, as a professional cricketer, if you can understand reasons why it might be postponed or cancelled.
Yeah, look, as you say, I'm well removed from the Red Bull stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, once you have families and stuff, you want ideal situations off the field to help you on the field. So everybody's just trying to get in a position where they can be as mentally fresh. I haven't spent a lot of times in these bio bubbles as compared to the other guys, so I can't comment in that regard. To be honest, those guys have especially the England boys, have spent a lot of time in bubbles, so I can understand how that might drain on them. But I can't comment too much, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Cheers, James. We'll go Rory Dollard, then Matt Henry.
Hi, Tymal. Thanks for talking to us.
No worries.
We got the impression earlier in the summer from Owen that you were kind of on the radar while you were out of the squad. I just wonder how those few years since you were last in the England squad, whether you felt that line of communication was open, or whether things have changed a little since Silvers took over from Ed as a selector.
I haven't spoken an awful lot to the England squad. Like up until this last year or so, England haven't played an awful lot of T20 cricket. The focus had obviously been on 50 over cricket and the 50 over World Cup. So just naturally, it was just kind of one or two T20s now and again, wasn't it? Especially during the English summer. So obviously I found myself out the side, and I was often either injured or just not bowling quite as well. So there wasn't supposed to be any. There wasn't really any contact during that time. And I had a chat with Morgs last winter about this time last year when I was out in the UAE playing in a tournament, and just over dinner, and he said to me I was still, my name still came up in selection and things like that. So that was nice to hear, and it was all I kind of needed to hear, really, that I wasn't completely out of the picture. And then it was just a case of doing what I had to do this summer and hoping for the best. And obviously things went well.
You said earlier that you're coming in as a bit of an outsider to the group, having not been around the squad for a while. But CJ is England's leading T20 wicket taker. He's a rock solid part of that team for years and years. And your relationship and partnership with him is really strong. Does that partnership help you sort of feed into the group and find a role in the team?
Yeah, again, look, we'll wait and see. I don't know what my role in the team is going to be, if any, at the moment. But I know everybody in the squad. There's nobody that I'm going in there that I don't know. Obviously, some guys better than others. But I know everybody, the support staff I'm pretty familiar with as well. It's just a case of reintegrating myself more off the field and how the team kind of goes about the business on tour and things like that. That I'll need to pick up on again. But as you say, I know CJ very well from our times at Sussex and Southern Brave, and obviously we've bowled well in tandem over the last couple of years. But as I said earlier, that nothing's guaranteed. I've got to earn the right to get into the 11, and hopefully I can do that.
And the 100, obviously there was a lot of talk about the 100, and there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of scepticism in other parts. I just wonder, do you feel like personally that gave you the little nudge over the line that's actually ended up with you back in the England squad, the profile, the big matches, all that, back-to-back games? I just wonder if you think that tournament actually, and the way you handled yourself in it, just was that little extra push that's seeing you here today in the England shirt.
Yeah, 100%. Like I've been quite vocal and quite open of my support of the 100 and what it could do for the shortest form of the game. I think it's something that the Blast can't give you is that exposure and the narratives that can be built, because obviously with the Blast you have 18 teams playing 14 games each. So many great performances just get missed. They can't be televised, whereas every match in the 100 was televised. Narratives will be able to be built. You can get used to, you can see who's bowling well, or if somebody is only bowling well in certain situations, or if somebody has one good game and 5 bad games, you see it and you hear about it and the commentators talk about it. So I saw it as a really good opportunity to play a full tournament. I'm really happy that I played every game. I bowled my full allocation in every game, in games that weren't rained off. And then when I do that, I back myself to bowl well, and I was really happy with how I bowled. So we had a really strong side and a really good coach in Mahela with Southern Brave. And yeah, it was a brilliant platform for the players, and I know all the other players loved playing in it, and I know players that weren't playing in it, they want to be involved.
In a kind of short answer, are you here today without the 100, do you think?
Probably not.
Nice one. Thanks, Tymal.
Cheers, Rory. Let's go Matt Henry, Matt Roller, and then John Westerby.
Cheers, Danny. Hi, Tymal. Just on the Ashes, I wondered whether it's a distraction at all for the T20 team, given we're 2 weeks out from a World Cup and all the talks about an Ashes tour that may or may not happen.
Again, I can't answer that at the moment, but I'd like to think not. The guys that nobody in this team's young and naive and can get caught up in those things. I wouldn't have thought. Guys are well versed in what's going on, and as you say, it's a World Cup. It's a massive deal, and whilst we are there, I'm sure everybody will be fully dialed in to that, and then kind of whatever happens after that will happen after that. But I've got no doubt that the guys will come together whenever we all kind of get together officially, and we'll be fully focused on the World Cup.
Thank you.
Matt, quick info.
Morning, Tymal. Just wanted to ask about the IPL going on at the moment, whether you've been watching it and sort of whether you've picked up or learned anything from it so far in terms of pitches or anything else we might expect for the World Cup.
Yeah, I've been watching as much as I can. It's on 3 o'clock in the afternoons normally when I'm out and about with the little one and getting ready for dinner and stuff. So it's a bit of a tricky time for me. But I've played a lot of cricket in the UAE. I've played, the PSL was played a lot there. I've played in the Afghan League, the T10 League. So I've played in Dubai, Sharjah and Abu Dhabi a lot. So, they're 3 grounds that I'm comfortable with. They're not alien to me. The pitches look like they've been quite sluggish, particularly in the day games, which is to be expected. Sharjah in particular has been pretty low scoring, hasn't it, in the day? But it looks like they're obviously trying to keep the pitches, especially in Dubai, they had quite a bit of grass on them to try and keep them fresh for, obviously, by the time the T20 World Cup starts. There's obviously a lot of cricket going on in that period over that time. So, I'm sure we'll be one of the advantages, we've got half the squad playing in the IPL at the moment. So I'm sure that they'll come out of that with a bunch of information. The analyst is out there with KKR, and I'm sure we'll be well prepped and well versed by the time we all get together.
Yeah, from what you've seen so far, do you think conditions will suit this England team, given you're pretty used to playing on, I guess, some high scoring grounds in terms of what we've seen over the last few years?
Yeah, I think we've obviously got a very strong squad, a very adaptable squad. And as I said earlier, not just myself, most of the guys have played a lot of cricket in that area, whether it's in the IPL, PSL, internationally. There won't be many guys that haven't played a lot of cricket in the UAE, and fundamentally it'll just come down to the contest each game. How do we match up with the opposition? Obviously that'll be above me with what Morgs and Spoons decide to do with matchups and things like that. And I'm sure we'll be full of confidence when we go out there and back ourselves to beat any team one-on-one.
Lovely. Cheers.
Okay, John Westerby, Simon Byrne, and then we'll finish with Scott Taylor.
Hi, Tymal. Just going back to last winter when you talked about how mentally tough that was and said you've always been quite good at having other interests. Can you give us a feel for those other interests, and did they really sort of get you through that difficult period that you had? Yeah,
well, also I had a little girl last year, so she was about 6 months old at the time. So, as I'm sure most of you guys know, that's one of the great uses of your time. So I spent a lot more time with my daughter than probably I would have otherwise if I would have been away playing cricket. So that was one blessing. I've done a lot of media work within cricket with the BBC, with Sky. So I'll always keep ticking over with that. I've got another online company, Pace Journal, where we interview guys, and that's all on Instagram. And I learned quite a lot about the business side of that, how to kind of run an online business. I did some training just via Zoom with media work as well. So it's always been something I've had an interest in. And because I only play T20 cricket, I have a lot of spare time. I'm not playing 4-day cricket. I'm not away for an awful lot of the year. So I have time to use, and I always try my best to use that as best I can, and just keep chipping away. And as I say, when I get injured, it's obviously disappointing, but you got to try and make the best of that time and use it to to your advantage and to try and better yourself in some way, I feel.
Can you just confirm to us, do you have a specific limit to the number of balls you can bowl in a match or in training, and how it does work in training as well?
Look, I don't have a number where I know I'm going to go pop, but yeah, I tend to, that number's come up. I used to be quite tentative. I'd only bowl 4 overs in training. I used to be quite firm with that, but over the last year or so, maybe 18 months, 2 years, I've gotten better at that, and I've realised it was actually after the we played in finals day, 4 years ago for Sussex, and I bowled 8 in the day, I think, and that was just a nice mental kind of hurdle for me that I bowled my 8 overs in the semi-final and the final, and everything was okay. So since then, now, yeah, I'll normally bowl kind of 5 or 6 overs on a training day, and I feel that's kind of a good number for me to get a good amount of practice in.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go Simon, Dean Wilson now, and then we'll finish off with Scott. Go ahead, Simon.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Simon.
Sorry, that is a beginner's error. I've done with that a year ago. Can you just tell us where you watched the 2016 T20 World Cup and the final, I guess, in particular?
I don't know if I did. I definitely can't remember where I watched it. What was that, 5 years ago? It's a long time ago. I can't remember where I was, what I was doing. To be completely honest with you, I'm sorry.
I was just wondering, like, as a death bowler,
yeah.
Obviously there was that match, the 2016 final, provided a pretty extraordinary moment of death bowling.
Yeah.
And it really, I guess, sums up the pressure that death bowlers face and the potential for it to be, great, or for it to be less good.
Yeah.
I'm sure even if you didn't watch it at the time, you've probably seen that over.
Yeah.
And as a death bowler, how do you see it? How do you watch it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, look, the one thing about bowling at the death bit is, especially in the tight games when you're bowling second, and the game is on the line. It's 1 versus 1. They are the most kind of high pressure situations that you can find yourself in as a cricketer, both from a bowling point of view and then as a batter at the other end. You're trying to win the game for your team, your nation, whatever it may be. So it's all about how you deal with the occasion. It's one thing I think I'm pretty good at, is whether I'm playing, not that I play club cricket anymore, if I was playing club cricket, or if I'm playing for Sussex, or I'm playing for England, or in the IPL, whatever it is, I like to think I'm pretty level. I'm pretty calm at the end of my mark. And look, I also understand that I'm not afraid to fail. I think that's a huge part of death bowling. You need to accept that sometimes it's not going to go your way in each individual ball that you bowl. You get hit for 6, you get hit for 2 sixes. If you take a wicket with that third ball, that can win the game still. So that's the mentality that you have to have when you're bowling at the death. You have to be confident. You need to want the ball. You need to want to bowl those overs. Because if you're going into it a little bit timid, a little bit half-hearted, 80% or whatever, you're gonna, in my opinion, have a lesser chance of executing your skills. So it's what I've done. It's what I've kind of made my name by doing over the last couple of years. And yeah, like, if I'm called upon to do it in this World Cup, I'll certainly step forward straight away.
That really, as a death bowler, the latter stage of a 2020 World Cup is probably the pinnacle of the sport, and as heavy as pressure gets. And is there no concern in your mind that mentally you can handle that if you're put in that situation?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, look, as you say, I want to be there. I want to do it. And pressure, in my opinion, is only as big as you allow it to be. If and you make it in your own mind, you have to remember, you guys will be watching it on television with the commentators telling you how big of a deal it is. Whereas we're out there in the field, we're not hearing anything other than ourselves and our, the captain or whoever. So it's probably more exacerbated on the TV than it is in the games, in my opinion. I'd like to think, look, I know we'll do our whatever planning we have to do. So when we go out there, we're well prepared, and ultimately it's all about, as you say, 1 versus 1, who can execute the best, and hopefully we'll get into that situation and come out on top.
You say you've played there in that part of the world a lot. Actually, other than Hove, I think you've bowled more deliveries in 2020 cricket in Dubai than any other ground in the world, which is, it's pretty mad, isn't it, for a guy from Dewsbury?
Yeah, I'm well removed from Dewsbury. I left Yorkshire when I was very young, so I don't claim to be a Yorkshireman. But yeah, as you say, I've played a lot of cricket in the UAE. The PSL was held kind of exclusively out there in its early iterations, and I played in that tournament most years. And as I say, the Afghan League, the T10, those competitions are all held in the UAE. Over the last few years. So yeah, it's nice to be going to places that I know and grounds that I've got a decent record at, but ultimately previous records don't really mean an awful lot. This will be the highest level of competition that I've played in, obviously playing against international teams every game and some of the best players in the world. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see, if I get a go, how I go against them. Great. Thanks a lot. Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, one from Dean, and then we'll take a couple at the end from Scott.
Yeah, hi, Tymal. Talking about the experience that you've got over in the UAE and the skills that are needed, what do you think is going to be your main asset to get you into the England team and to be successful out there based on your experience? Is it the pace? Is it the extreme pace that makes the biggest difference? We've seen guys like Nortje and Rabada use that skill to great effect at the IPL. Is that still your stock in trade, that it's the pace that will get you in?
I'm going to go out there and do what I've been doing for the last few years. I'm definitely not going to change just because I'm in this situation. I'm a big believer in playing to your strengths and skill execution, as I've mentioned quite a lot. In my opinion, it's all about who can come out on top. And if you're trying to go away from what you're naturally good at, you're going to give yourself less of a chance of executing. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I've been doing for the last few years, trying to be smart about it. You make tweaks here and there, and if there's something blatantly obvious that I'll need to alter with regards to ground dimensions or a particular batter that I'm bowling at, I'll do that. But yeah, I'm going to come hard in the power play and then mix it up throughout the middle and the end and see where we get to.
I know that you've masterfully avoided all Ashes related questions, but remember in 13-14 when you were actually on an Ashes tour as a kind of preparation for what England were going to face, and I remember there was kind of some talk during that tour, maybe I think ahead of Perth, where I think you were being considered seriously for selection. What are your memories of that? And at the time, would that have been the pinnacle of your kind of cricketing ambition? Was a appearance in an Ashes test in Australia really the thing that you got most excited about back then?
Yeah, it's a good question. Obviously, it was a long time ago. 8 years ago, whatever it was. I look back on it very fondly. I was never going to play. I was never close to playing. I think it was all, again, you guys in the media pumping it up. Andy Flower and Graham Gooch, remember they sat me down on the boundary one day and grilled me just to see what I was about. I think just for an eye on the future. That was quite intimidating in Tasmania. I still remember that very clearly. Now I had Flower and Gooch on either side of me, and they literally gave me the full barrel, to see. I think they just wanted to see, what I was made of. But yeah, I bowled pretty well whilst I was out there, and then we had some Lions games and I bowled pretty well. But I remember I wasn't physically in good enough shape to have played a test match for sure. I was not as fit as what I needed to be. And yeah, but at the time, I was just loving any cricket. At the time, I was playing red ball cricket for Essex. I wasn't doing particularly well, if I'm being completely honest. I struggled with red ball cricket. I was better suited in Australia, or we went on a Lions tour to Sri Lanka. The flatter pitches where pace is more of a premium. I did well, whereas I struggled in county cricket when the slow seamers tended to do better. And obviously, since then my career's gone in a completely different direction. But yeah, like, I look back on that time now very fondly. It was good fun. Me and Harry Gurney, literally, we'd come and bowl 5 or 6 overs in the nets, and then we'd get told to go home, and we'd go and enjoy the rest of our time in Australia. But yeah, obviously that I got a sniff of it and I wanted it, but then pretty soon after, things changed and things went in a different direction.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
And last 2 from Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Tymal. Good to
Hello.
see you. What's your mindset heading into the T20 World Cup? Just, you've spoken quite a lot about the journey, about wearing the back braces. All you could do was go out for walks, etc. this time last year. Now you're at a T20 World Cup. So is it a case of I've got nothing to lose, or is there a determination to keep the shirt, or maybe a bit of both?
Yeah, look, I want to play. I want to get in the side. I want to, as all the lads will be. I want to play in every game, but obviously only 11 can play. So yeah, first job's just to get out there and reintegrate myself back into the team and become part of the squad again. And then once training starts, just give a good account of myself, both with the ball, fielding, batting, all those other bits as well. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I've worked hard to get here, but now that I'm here, I want to get in the 11 and stay in the 11 and hopefully try and win a World Cup. Obviously, not many players in any sport get the opportunity to go to a World Cup and to play in these tournaments. So I'm really happy to obviously be here, but obviously I'm not just going to settle for being on the plane. I want to try my best to get into the 11 also.
You've talked quite a lot about the PSL in this press conference here, and this is obviously the first time we spoke to you since the tour to Pakistan was cancelled and the reasons were outlined. But were you a bit disappointed not to be able to return to a place you played before?
Yeah, look, obviously I've been to Pakistan a few times, and it's a brilliant country to play cricket in. The crowds are always great. The cricket's always of a high standard. So it's a tournament that I know really well. So yeah, look, I can't comment too much on what happens above me. We obviously just we follow whatever advice and information that we're given. But hopefully, obviously if we are able to go back there, I'd definitely be keen to go, because I have experienced it firsthand, and it is a great place to go and play cricket. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get the chance to go back in the future.
Good luck.
Thank you.